The Formula One circus is making its way to Austria, and we have numerous fascinating developments to share with you, ranging from Norris's statements following his Canadian mishap to Mercedes introducing new components while aiming to duplicate their recent triumph for consecutive races. Here are the most captivating elements surrounding the upcoming Austrian Grand Prix. The Formula One teams have assembled in Austria as we anticipate thrilling competition and shifts in the championship standings following the Canadian Grand Prix outcome. With Mercedes now entering the competitive mix, it's certain that the Silver Arrows will seek to maintain this momentum and potentially secure their grip on the championship battle. Russell remains within striking distance of Piastri, and when combined with the exceptionally encouraging atmosphere surrounding the W16 following recent modifications, everything remains achievable. Mercedes shows no signs of halting their development program in the near future. They are genuinely introducing fresh components for Austria. It appears the Brackley organization has finally grasped the foundation they must develop, resulting in their dual podium achievement and inaugural victory in Canada, creating tremendous optimism heading into Austria. The elevation and cooler atmospheric conditions represent factors that Toto Wolff anticipates will favor both Russell and Antonelli, while Deputy Technical Director Simone Resta confirms the team has arranged extensive modifications for forthcoming events, including Austria. Expanding on these developments, Resta commented, "I would gladly commit anywhere to replicate our Canadian success, though I'm certain it won't prove equally straightforward. And we've clearly gained valuable insights from early season experiences under those circumstances. As I previously stated, we discovered certain traits at Imola and Spain, and I believe we'll continue developing our comprehension progressively as we approach Austria. Obviously, we're also receiving new components for the vehicle during these competitions that will consistently contribute to enhanced performance, so we'll discover our Austrian potential." Mercedes's performance enhancement became quite apparent in Canada, and while meteorological factors provided significant assistance, we must acknowledge the advancement achieved at Brackley. During the final regulatory year, the organization recognized necessary actions to establish their competitive presence and possibly challenge for the championship. This represents uncertain territory, with many questioning Russell's legitimacy as a championship contender, yet strong Mercedes performance during the approaching European sequence could transform second-half prospects. Seeing Russell atop the championship standings seems highly unlikely, though the British driver currently trails Piastri by 63 points. This certainly presents a substantial gap to bridge, yet it's not insurmountable, particularly considering McLaren's ongoing internal rivalry creates circumstances that could exclusively benefit Mercedes. Beyond the Woking organization, Ferrari cannot be dismissed from contention, particularly after the Maranello team revealed their modification plans for the SF25. Despite receiving harsh criticism regarding strategic errors in Canada and ignoring driver input, the Maranello squad has expedited their timeline, potentially introducing updated flooring and modified rear suspension configuration in Austria. Initially, suspension modifications were scheduled for Silverstone, but the team appears unwilling to surrender additional ground, given their current precarious position requiring decisions between focusing on 2026 or pursuing 2025 objectives. Hamilton insisted he would eventually become the paddock's most vocal advocate for concentrating on the upcoming regulatory period, though this doesn't currently reflect Ferrari's reality. Discussing these modification packages, Vasseur stated, "We'll implement improvements before the United Kingdom visit and possibly additional ones later, but frankly, I believe today's emphasis lies more in maximizing current vehicle potential rather than the machine's actual capabilities. We've reached these regulations' conclusion, and everyone understands that track introductions now involve hundredths rather than tenths. Nevertheless, McLaren will again attract significant attention, mainly due to their Canadian racing incident. This event highlighted Lando Norris's vulnerabilities and demonstrated how errors, such as misjudging non-existent opportunities, can severely impact championship prospects. Currently, Norris sits 22 points behind his teammate in the championship, and he should appreciate that Piastri struggled in Canada, finishing fourth and missing the podium for the first time recently. However, the MCL 39's superiority should manifest in Austria, and we're particularly anticipating the dynamic between these competitors when similar confrontations arise. Many questioned McLaren's approach following the Canadian Grand Prix, having barely avoided dual retirements due to their complications. According to Stella, their strategy remains unchanged for the season's remainder for one simple reason. Norris acknowledged his error and offered apologies. Consequently, drivers will continue racing freely while adhering to mutually respected sporting standards. Elaborating further, McLaren's team principal explained, "Such racing might soon become somewhat antiquated, and we want to provide Lando and Oscar opportunities to conclude the season in positions reflecting their worth, determined by merit, performance, and racing excellence demonstrated throughout the campaign, rather than ending the season realizing team control superseded driving quality and points distribution. This isn't necessarily straightforward, but we'll attempt our best execution." Nevertheless, McLaren emphasized that improved decision-making is required from both Norris and Oscar. Circumstances could have easily reversed, and despite Piastri's acclaimed precision in overtaking in close racing, certainty remains elusive. Still, McLaren now recognizes they lack early season advantages as competitors advance, and easy paths disappear when Verstappen pursues his fifth championship. Red Bull's home event should significantly boost their championship ambitions. Verstappen has clearly stated he's neither favored for championship victory nor competitive consideration, yet maintains a manageable 43-point deficit behind Piastri. The season's potential shifts remain intriguing, but Verstappen's championship pursuit eliminates simple title competition paths. Red Bull's responsibility involves providing Max with enhanced vehicle stability while ensuring superior strategic execution. Regarding Max, we must acknowledge his notorious racing suspension penalty. This marks Verstappen's final participation with 11 of 12 required points for event exclusion. Following the Austrian Grand Prix, Verstappen gains breathing space with 2 points removed, though considering his 3 penalty points from Spain's incident, this likely provides minimal relief. Nevertheless, this indicates Max's seasonal progress and necessitates more cautious approaches when situations turn unfavorable. Red Bull won't rest either. They're preparing home soil improvements while pursuing both McLaren drivers. Targeted enhancement areas include flooring, aerodynamics, and front suspension internal components. However, indications suggest Red Bull might delay until Silverstone before fully implementing this comprehensive modification package. Max likely desires partial Austrian implementation, eager to close gaps with Piastri and Norris without wasting opportunities, though patience often proves more valuable than hasty improvements. Don't overlook critical seat updates for 2025. Yuki Tsunoda exemplifies this, as the Japanese driver faces scrutiny for recent poor performances, testing Austrian team patience. Marco publicly announced stricter second driver expectations, with alternatives prepared for inadequate performance. While the RB21 doesn't suggest regression from this perspective, Racing Bull's seats function as Red Bull talent development platforms. Therefore, Hajar enters these discussions, potentially replacing Tsunoda mid-season. Should this occur, Yuki would lack 2026 seating because Red Bull won't demote him to their sister team after 5 years there. Arvid Lindblad could attempt this opportunity, as the young prospect has been labeled Formula One's next Verstappen. Considering everything, what do you anticipate the Austrian Grand Prix will deliver? And more crucially, which team will emerge as the weekend's greatest victor and most significant disappointment? Share your thoughts in the comments section, and afterwards, ensure you select the video currently displayed on your screen.